Just a short follow-up on moral reasoning and moral theory before we move on to really looking at a couple of moral theories in detail. And let's just take a look, review again what we learned about that trolley example. Okay, now we all understand the trolley example was the trolley's traveling down a track 60 miles an hour, brakes fail, straight ahead of 5 people can't get out of the way, a trolley driver can turn to another track, but on that other track, there's one person who won't be able to get out of the way. Now, the question that we're trying to address is what is the morally right thing to do for the trolley driver to do? You're the trolley driver. And why is that the right thing? We noted with respect to the trolley example that there was a majority opinion, and the majority opinion supported the claim or took the moral position that the right thing to do is to turn the trolley. Not only that, but the major or perhaps the best reason that was cited, or the majority reason that was cited, was that it's right, or one way of putting it is it's right to sacrifice one person to save 5 lives. Or a few other ways of putting it, but that was basically the position of the majority people in most of my classes and also in the Harvard class that you guys were watching. Now, the minority position, the moral claim that they made was the right thing to do is not to turn the trolley. In other words, it would be wrong to turn the trolley. And when we were looking at the fat man example, well, we heard various claims about it, but I think we got the best reason when we were talking about the fat man example. That is, the reason you shouldn't turn a trolley is that it's just not morally right to take the life of an innocent person. So those are the two positions that we had. And you notice it was kind of interesting because the next thing I did ask you to go through is to reconstruct the arguments for these two positions. And remember the fat man variation? That is there is no fork in the road in the tracks, but rather the train is traveling. You're on one side of the bridge. There are workers on the other side of the bridge, and they're going to get hit. And you notice that there is a very, very large man who's leaning over the tracks, and if you just kind of push the large man over, he will fall onto the tracks. He will lose his life in the process, but it will derail the trolley, and the 3 people will be saved and nobody else will be hurt. So we asked you to reconstruct the argument. So let's go, and I think it's kind of interesting because we're going to see that there are some odd conclusions, or we already have seen, but it's just worth focusing on how we make the decision. Because remember, we entered into this whole discussion of moral reasoning because I said in order to decide what is right, what is wrong, what the truth of the matter is, what we want to do, since we don't have this direct line to God, who's going to tell us which is right or wrong, we have to rely on the best reasons that we have. And in order to do that, our method of inquiry is to consider the best arguments for one position and then for the alternative position or alternative positions, and then evaluate the arguments and see if they're any good. And we're going to turn to that now.